Hello, my dear friend. Welcome back. We are to focus on tapping on the fear of our own energy in this session. Now, before we dive in, I just want to do a quick recap for all of us. We are reading The Way Toward Health by Jane Roberts. And right off the bat, within the first couple of sessions, we came across some really profound information. And I want to revisit it before we dive into the tapping session. And so this is what it says. Some people, for example, definitely want to live while they're trying to hide from life at the same time. In many such cases, however, the people so worried about the occurrence of danger from the outside world are instead concerned about the nature of their own energy and afraid that it might destroy them. Obviously, I'm skipping paragraphs and just going to those highlights. Now, I'm gonna find the next paragraph that spoke on the same topic. Now, we're speaking about Rupert. He willed himself into immobility, willing to sacrifice certain kinds of motion in order to safely use other kinds of psychological motion, because he was afraid of his spontaneous nature or his spontaneous self. He was afraid that it acted according to its own reasons, which might not be his own, or so he thought. Now he's beginning to understand that his energy is the gift of his life, to be expressed, not repressed. And to understand again that spontaneity knows its own order. Just as a quick peek into what's coming up, I just looked into the next section. And this is just so good. I had to mention it because it's along the same lines. So this is what it says. People who have epilepsy are also afraid of their own energy. They don't trust it, nor do they trust the spontaneous portions of the self. They are afraid that left alone, their energy might strike out against others. And so they short circuit its use, having attacks that momentarily render themselves helpless. Gosh, it keeps going. So let's stop here and let's just focus on one very simple idea. Obviously, we'll dive into tapping. So, my love, if you are in a place where you cannot tap with us, just save this recording and come back to it later. So I'm assuming that you're comfortable, that you can close your eyes, that your body can stay in a position for a while, and that your hands are free so you can use your fingertips to gently use that tapping sensation, tapping motion, either on the karate chop point or the collarbone point. And so as we talk about all of this, safely using, but also more importantly, trusting our energy. Where are you on all of this? First of all, have you even thought about it? I have had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he spoke of not trusting his energy. He spoke of his monsters, his demons. It was a term he had heard Jordan Peterson use, know your demons, in his first book, Jordan Peterson was talking about that idea, know your demons. And so my friend was using that concept as he was talking about the portions of himself that he didn't trust, he didn't like. And the portions of himself that felt out of control, as if they had a life of his own. Have you ever thought about those things yourself? Have you ever sat down and thought to yourself, do I trust my energy? Do I trust myself 100%? This essence of who I am, not the ego, not the shell that people see, my pretty hair, my beautiful smile, my pretty eyes, this height of a person and so forth. But the depth of who I am, the essence, when we're asked point to yourself, we usually take our index finger and point towards about the center of our chest. That's what I mean. Do you trust when the portion of yourself that you point towards when you're asked to point towards yourself? So let's answer this and let's measure. I trust my energy. How true is that for you? 0, no, I don't trust my energy. I don't trust myself. 10, most definitely, I trust myself. And I know there is an inclination to think of specific situations. For example, gosh, if you throw me in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean or Pacific Ocean or any sea or any lake, do I trust myself to swim back to shore? Not really. I am a swimmer, but not a strong swimmer. Gosh, if it's a shark infested water, I'll be freaking out. Trusting myself even less. And so, maybe, it's an inclination to talk about specific situations. But as I spoke earlier, Jane Roberts was not trusting herself and she was suppressing her own impulses to simply get up from her desk and go do things, go to the supermarket, go for a walk in the middle of the day. Absolutely not allowed. She felt that she needed to discipline those parts of herself. She felt that they were mischievous and rambunctious and they were going against the bigger goal of her being a successful professional writer. And she felt this chip on her shoulder that as a woman, she needed to prove even more so that, she can be a professional writer. So not a life-threatening situation like being in the middle of an ocean, but it's a very applicable everyday life situation of not trusting her own energy and not trusting our impulses. So maybe that's the second question to measure. Do you trust your impulses? And what is an impulse, right? Because I have to tell you, when I dove into this work of trusting my energy and trusting my impulses, I had to even begin with noticing my impulses. It felt like they were flying over my head, and most of the time I wasn't even aware of them. Or, better said, I was aware of them, but I was habitually dismissing them. Here's an impulse. I need to go to the bathroom. Suppress it, ignore it. No. 5 more minutes. 1 more email needs to be sent. 1 more phone call needs to be sent out. I gotta keep talking to this person on the phone, not right now. Or I'm hungry. Gosh, how many times have you gone through a day and the day's busy and you're hungry and you're just ignoring the impulse, or you're just quickly eating at the counter without even sitting down, just rushing food into your mouth just so that it's done quickly and efficiently. Or the impulse to call somebody you like, or the impulse to do something enjoyable and pleasant, because who has the time for that? So the reason why I'm talking about impulses is because impulses is how our inner self communicates with us, our subconscious communicates with us, how inner information gets delivered through the inner senses to us. And the inner senses are this incredible subject. Oh, I love talking about the inner senses. Like, for example, yesterday, I was talking to a friend, and he's enjoying the spiritual journey, and so many extraordinary things are happening to him. And so he shared with me that he is having this feeling that when he meditates, he's bigger than his body, that it feels like he needs to stretch, and it feels uncomfortable. And immediately I knew that it's just the expansion of the tissue capsule. It's an inner sense that is making him aware of actually his bigness, his soul, his energy being far bigger than the boundary that our skin provides. And so to him, it was completely unknown. To me, it was like, oh yeah, we're talking about the inner senses. And so these impulses is really how we get guidance on a moment-to-moment basis. This is literally our navigation system, our GPS from the inner world. And what is the use of us talking about psychic development when we habitually dismiss these impulses? Because that's how psychic information gets delivered, through impulses, right? I remember years ago when I was beginning my spiritual journey, I had full-blown conversations with my guides, more like me yelling, saying, hey, you need to speak louder. I don't hear you. You need to speak louder. And now, because, nothing was coming through. And now, of course, I look back and I'm just humorously reviewing the whole thing in my mind, because of course, I wouldn't hear anything. I wasn't listening to my impulses. I wasn't listening to my energy coming through, because let's talk about it. Do we get good grades for being disciplined in school? Or do we get good grades or bad grades for doing whatever we want to do? The answer is obvious, right? The educational system is perfectly structured for good kids to be rewarded for fitting in and keeping quiet. And very rarely are we awarded gold stars for self-expression and listening to ourselves. And I'm just so glad so much of that is changing. But we just, who sat us down and told us be authentic? Nobody. My mom wanted a good girl. Dad wanted a good girl. My grandparents were proud for me being a good girl. I imagine it was the same for you, and you were made to feel guilty if you were being naughty. And so, right? Where's there room to trust our energy? So naturally it is suspect, much less when we begin our religious training and we're told to believe that, we have to watch out. Nothing good comes from these impulses, to the point where people even question their impulses, thinking, oh, it cannot be altruistic. It must be some nefarious part of me wanting to take advantage. So I have to suppress everything. So this is deep. Do you understand? This is so deep. No wonder the way towards health, without the S, the way toward health starts with such a simple idea, and yet life-spanning idea of, are we trusting our energy? And so I have to tell you, I'm a little bit confused and lost on how to guide you through this EFT tapping. Not because we cannot do it, but I'm thinking to myself, this is vast. Where do we start? And so let's just start where it shows up every day in your life. That's why I was earlier talking about specific situations. I do not trust myself to climb Mount Everest right now. Not doing it. Not doing it. Now, if I choose to do it, and if I train, and if I find a good Sherpa, and if I find a good season, as you know, of the time of year, I would definitely trust myself. But right here, right now, no, we're not going for that. However, as I go down the street, do I trust myself? As I get in my car, do I trust myself? As I talk to my clients, do I trust myself? As I am looking to buy property, do I trust myself? As I'm making an investment, in other words, as I boil tea, you understand, regular everyday stuff. So think of the regular everyday stuff, and where is it that you don't trust yourself? Maybe you don't trust yourself to start your own business, and you're stuck in a dead end 9 to 5 job that you hate, but hey, the pay is okay. Do you understand where I'm going with this, right? Yeah. So, where is it that you don't trust yourself? And in that situation, give it a number 0, I don't trust myself, and 10, I do trust myself. And obviously you understand when I say this, I'm equating I trust my energy with I trust myself. And let's just start tapping. Let's do some movement and of energy. And obviously, as we keep reading the book, there will be so much more work to be done. And we'll do, but for now, so simply close your eyes. And now that you know your own personal number in terms of I trust myself, I trust my impulses, I don't trust them. Let's begin. And please, as you repeat along with me, please change my words to suit where you are and what you feel. And please take complete responsibility, right? Like you're doing this, taking care of your own mental health. What this means is that anytime you need to stop, please do so. At any time you need to find a therapist, please do so. At any time you want to reach out to me and work with me one-on-one so we dive specifically into what you're feeling and experiencing, I'm here for you. And here we go. Even though this is such a big subject, and honestly, a part of me is making me feel uncomfortable because I'm recognizing, of course, I don't fully 100% trust my energy. I'm not crazy. Nobody trusts themselves 100%. Why would I? I've never been told it's a good idea. In fact, I've always been told it's a bad idea to trust myself. I was never given the keys to a car and told, drive. No, first I had to learn the rules of the road. I had to study. I had to learn what to do. And even when I drive, I still have to be very cautious. So, where is it that I'm ever told, trust yourself? I don't know. But here I am, seeing the value of it. That it's an essential part to a healthy way of life. And honestly, I don't even know why I should trust myself. It's been such a habit to suspect the world of the worst. It's been such a habit to think people don't have good intentions. It is such a habit to expect the worst. To hold my breath and wait for the other shoe to drop. Whenever something happens, I have to remind myself that it's for me and not happening to me. It takes a whole new way of thinking. And I'm only now starting to realize that maybe I could have a safe universe. Oh, what a nonsense. Yeah, nobody has ever told me life is safe. In fact, it's the very opposite. Nothing in life is safe. And I have to protect myself. I have to buy all kinds of insurance. Even money needs to be earned as a shield and used as a shield, as a protection. Where is this whole thing about trusting myself coming from? I don't know if I should even trust myself. I've been living my life okay, thank you very much. Me being on guard and suspecting myself has gotten me pretty far. And so I'm alright with the way things are. Yet I also understand that so much of my pain in my body, so much of the stiffness as I get older, is happening because I'm holding back. I'm not fully trusting my energy. And I really don't trust my energy fully. My energy is such a suspect. I feel like my energy has a life of its own. I don't even know how to control my energy. Like, I don't succeed every time in turning a bad day around or having every day be a good day. It's like there's a whole another thing going on inside me. And so much of that whole another thing has a life of its own. And I definitely don't trust that energy. I don't trust the energy inside me. I seriously don't know how else to do this. I get that there are benefits to trusting myself. I get that there are benefits to trusting my impulses. Being in exuberant health being an obvious benefit. But are you serious? What if I do something stupid? What if I decide to trust myself and I just strike out or hurt somebody? Not good idea. Not a good idea. I cannot carry the guilt of hurting others. I cannot carry the responsibility of not being productive. I cannot trust this energy that seems so suspect and just open reaching my goals to some chance, to some crazy, unreliable energy. Honestly, I'm not even sure what you're asking of me. It's just crazy. What do you mean trust my energy? Yeah, of course, I trust myself. I mean, to a certain extent, I really do. I trust myself to operate a knife. I trust myself to use my phone. I trust myself during the holidays with my family. I mean, I trust myself I'll be at work tomorrow. Now, I'm not sure what mood I'll be in. I cannot trust I'll be the most friendly person at work. So, in a way, I already trust myself some. But I don't know if I can fully trust myself. It seems foolish. Honestly, it seems unnecessary. What if I don't behave? And depending on the size of people's demons, because some people have big demons, big childhood trauma, and some people have less of a childhood trauma. I recognize there's different nuances in trusting oneself. And honestly, what if this part of me that I call demons, that I call my shadow, that I call my suspicious self, what if this part of me just needs to be loved? What if this part of me that I've been rejecting and wanting to put in a straitjacket is just a part of me that needs to be loved? Maybe nobody ever paid attention to this part of me because to my parents it felt like it was too demanding, too needy, too time consuming when they were already overwhelmed with life. But honestly, I have to live with myself. So I've got nothing better to do than deal with this part of me and pay attention and listen. And so this part of me, I wonder, this part that I'm trying to straitjacket, block, what am I so afraid you would do? Hurt others? Be too frivolous and play too much? Run around and never work? Be too happy? Tell people what to do? Be aggressive? Fight with everyone? I don't know. What else? Maybe I should ask this part of me. Hey, part of me that I habitually block. What would you do if I give you full freedom? And so I'm willing to listen. Because it is a part of me. And I might as well listen. And what is so scary about giving you a voice and expression? What is the worst thing that could happen to me if I give you expression and full energy? And how can you serve me? In what ways can you having full energy benefit me? then I'm starting to realize that I am able to hear this part of me. This part that I so often have blocked. Almost always. And now I'm seeing we can actually talk. And I'm a little bit sad that I have been so actively blocking a part of me. And the more I give this part of me a voice, the more I see maybe we can be friends. Maybe I can listen a little more. Because this part of me just needs to be loved and acknowledged. And here I am having denied you. I'm really sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And I'm honestly not sure I can fully trust you yet. But at least I'm willing to listen. If I give you a little tiny bit of freedom, so I don't suppress you, but instead I trust you to express yourself, what's gonna change? Are you gonna make my life worse? What negative changes am I gonna experience? And how are you gonna make my life better? What fulfillment is possible if I trust you to express your energy? Okay, this is interesting. And so I wonder, should I trust you? Maybe we can try something temporary. What if just for a little bit, I allow you to flow a little better? Express a little more. What if just for a little bit, I don't block you the way I used to? Not that fully, at least. Maybe we can make this agreement. And meanwhile, I'll be very watchful. Because I do not want you to hurt no one. And even as I say this, I recognize that this part of me has no interest in hurting anyone. This part of me just wants to be loved, make friends, eat ice cream, or cake, or cookies, or grandma's favorite meal. Well, grandma's favorite meal made for me. This part of me just wants to belong, to be free, to play. You know, some people call this part of me the inner child. But we can call this part of me many different archetype names. The name doesn't matter. I just know this part of me is really good. Because all of me is good. All of me comes from God. How could it not be good? And so I get it. I have been blocking myself because I accepted other people's fears. I subscribed for other people's insecurities. I just wanted to be good, to belong, to be seen and appreciated. And if that meant denying a part of me, I was happy to do it. But now I see it's been too high of a price. And honestly, I don't want to do that any longer. I seriously don't want to suppress a part of me any longer. I just want to love all of me. Because all of me is so good and unique. All of me is so beautiful and precious. And I wonder, what if I just trust my energy a little more? What if I trust myself a little more? What if I trust life a little more? Oh, that's just crazy talking. Life is crazy. People are crazy. Not a good idea. Yeah, but I am in charge. Well, yeah, but you're not in charge of the economy. You're not in charge of politics and war. Yeah, but I do create my own reality. It's true, but there's so many bad things happening in the world. I cannot just trust life and be completely exposed and vulnerable. Yeah, but it's not like that. My universe is safe. But what does that mean? Well, it means that even if crazy things are happening, I can choose to be safe. I can remember that I'm always protected. I can make that request of the divine. And even if something unpleasant and unwanted happens, then it's definitely a gift for me. And so I'm choosing to believe that maybe my universe is safe. My life is safe. So I am safe. My life is safe. Maybe I can believe in my safety. Maybe I can trust that I'm always protected. And I'm open to continuing to change those ideas. For now, I'm just willing to believe that I am always safe within myself. That my energy is my friend. That my energy is a gift to be expressed, not denied. I can trust that from deep within, I am good. And I can trust my goodness. And I can release any suspicion towards those parts of me that I previously restrained. And I'm choosing to give those parts of me a little more freedom. Just a little more freedom. We can experiment with that. I'm willing to notice my impulses, just so that I decide if I should give more freedom to those parts of me. And then someday, when I fully trust them, I can make this expression automatic. But for now, I can decide if I should act on my impulses. On the impulses, the messages coming from this energy of mine. And I feel a little better about the whole thing. I feel a little more open to trusting myself, to letting the energy of life flow through me. And so here I am, feeling better and better, lighter and lighter, and a little more integrated and accepting of myself, a little more whole, a little more free. I do really love all of me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now, my dear friends, stop tapping, rest your hands, and take a full breath in. How are you feeling? How is this for you? And please comment in the comments what number you started with and where are you now when you say, I trust myself, I trust my impulses. Was there an improvement in your numbers, in your level of trusting yourself? I feel like so much energy is being moved for all of us. So I encourage you to drink some water, and you feel the impulse to get up and stretch, please do so. And just continue with this intention of giving a notice to your impulses, that you're going to notice them, not automatically block them, but you'll just notice and you'll decide, should I do something about this or not? And that's where we are going to leave it for a little bit, so that you can see that your impulses are actually safe and that they are meant to fulfill you and not hurt you, that they're good, that your impulses are actually altruistic, and that they come from a cooperative essence, because we are all one. So naturally your impulses, yes, they'll serve you, but they'll serve others as well. So your impulses are always meant for good. And even if unfortunate situations happen, I just heard a story this morning. Mom was telling me the story of how some man was sharing that years ago when he was in the army, he was engaged and he came home from deployment, and he discovered that his fiance was having an affair with his neighbor. And he was just devastated, mad, cursing God and saying, why is this happening to me? And now, years later, as he's telling the story, he was saying, the best thing that happened for me, it was a gift. It wasn't a curse. It wasn't something that happened to me. It was for me. So this is impulses, right? This is trusting our energy, trusting life, trusting whenever situations happen, even if we're judging them and saying, not how I choose them, we trust that life supports us and energy supports us, and we're meant to win. And if we haven't won yet, it's not the end yet. So let me know, how did this round of tapping impact you? And if you feel there's still room for improvement, please rewind to the beginning of the tapping round, tap with me, and change my words once more to specifically speak to what you're feeling in the moment. I look forward to hearing from you and reading your comments. I'm sending you all my love, and we're continuing to read together The Way Toward Health by Jane Roberts and work through all the things that we're gonna encounter. I love you. This is Mira Kelly, and reach out to me if you would like to work with me one-on-one.